It sounds like Kathy McMorris Rodgers from the Republican leadership extended just that invitation to Donald Trump today to meet with the House Republican Conference. Don't have a time, don't have a date. Sounds like it's going to happen. From your standpoint, with the House Freedom Caucus, if you get that meeting, you get a chance to ask a question. What do you want to ask Donald Trump?
I want to ask him several things. Our top priorities are balancing the budget as quickly as we possibly can so we quit mortgaging our children's future away, and making a strong military and peace through strength. Also, in getting back to constitutional principles, we've had a big frustration with President Obama not wanting to abide by the separation of powers doctrine in the Constitution. And if it's a Republican president that tries to do things through executive fiat as opposed to how it's described in Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution, I'm not interested in that either. So I'm really interested to know where he stands on those kinds of issues, because to me that's very important.
Yeah, so you did not endorse Donald Trump in the primary. You're saying now you would take him over Hillary Clinton, but you also said this morning, I think on Morning Joe, it wouldn't be a love fest between a Republican Congress and Donald Trump. Beyond what you just said, are there specific issues where you look at Donald Trump right now and you say, I'm not sure his basic policy orientation is the same as mine?
Yeah, I think in some of the comments that I've read published in the media about where he stands on entitlements, I believe that entitlement reform is actually absolutely imperative if we're going to balance the budget, and also if we're going to save Social Security and Medicare for future recipients. Also, I believe it's incredibly important how we handle the tax situation. He wants to, apparently through media reports, wants to raise taxes on certain segments of our society. I'm not sure I agree with him on that. I'm not sure that I totally agree with, some of his policies on dealing with foreign trade. I've been a strong supporter of free trade agreements, and so there's a few things that we have different. But as I mentioned on another program, I had a lot of differences with George W. Bush, and I still supported him as president. I did not support Leave No Child Behind. I did not support some of the bailouts that he got through Congress, and I sure didn't support Medicare Part D. And I did not support him ballooning the deficit as he did when he was president. So there's never going to be 100% unanimity. The best you can hope for is being agreeable on 50% of the issues or more. But while Trump wasn't in my top 5, Hillary's not in my top 100.
Well, yeah, let me ask you about that, because you're basically giving us a bottom line judgment here. You're saying, look, when you've got to choose ultimately between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, that's an easy call for you. Paul Ryan is looking at that same question and apparently saying it's not so clear cut to him. Do you have a sense of what would be holding him back?
I don't believe that's really where he's at. I think where Paul is at is trying to do as much due diligence as he can before he makes a final commitment. He really is right now the head of the Republican Party for the entire country, and I think that he takes that responsibility very, very seriously. The campaign ended a lot earlier than he anticipated. He shared that with the Republican conference, and he got caught, I think, a little bit flat-footed. I don't think there's any problem at all sitting down, looking eye to eye with the nominee and seeing if there could be a meeting of the minds on some things. I think that's actually not a bad thing.
But do you want and expect Paul Ryan to endorse Donald Trump?
I want us to have a unified Republican delegation or conference with our Republican nominee. Yes, I would like to see that happen.
All right, Matt Salmon, Congressman from Arizona. Thanks for the time. All right, joining me now, Congressman Chris Collins from New York. He was the very first member of Congress to endorse Donald Trump. Congressman, thanks for joining us.
Steve, good to be with you.
So Paul Ryan said today they made progress, basically. He's not ready to endorse yet. He said this is a process. I'm sure you'd like to see him endorse. How much time are you willing to give him for this process?
Well, I mean, I spoke with Paul yesterday. He did not, as of yesterday, know Donald Trump. They had a great meeting today. I saw nothing but positive messaging coming out of that meeting with a joint statement. You know, the sooner the better. I just heard what you said with Matt Salmon, a great congressman. We all are looking to be unified. Paul Ryan, in our conference a couple of days ago, said we need to unite. And so, you know, a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks, And as we all know, May 4th came on us much quicker than we expected. We thought the earliest would ever be June 7 in California. May 4, all of a sudden, Kasich and Cruz drop out. So let's say by the end of May, first part of June, I think the meeting today was a great first start, and you're going to see both Paul Ryan and Donald Trump communicating on a regular basis. Paul's staff, along with Donald's staff, communicating as Donald's already reached out to committee chairmen like Kevin Brady and Jeff Miller on VA, Candace Miller, Bill Schuster on transportation. He's looking for input from the membership on the policies as he puts meat on the bone to make sure, as I heard Mr. Salmon say, we have a balanced budget, we start paying down our debt, we live within our means, peace through strength. All of these issues are Donald Trump issues, and I know my fellow members are going to be very comfortable on the stump the next 6 months supporting Donald Trump in his message as they do their own run for their own reelection.
Donald Trump has not been shy about going after Paul Ryan, at least before today, at least before the last couple days, including within the last week. He was skewering Paul Ryan at some of these rallies he's holding. Do you think we're done hearing that from Donald Trump now?
I believe Donald Trump, our presumptive nominee, he is in fact our nominee, has pivoted to the general election. Certainly Speaker Ryan in our conference said it's so important for us to all be united. Donald Trump has said the same thing. He put the olive branch out to Reince Priebus and Speaker Ryan. So no, I am very comfortable where we are. Just think, we are 10 weeks, 9 weeks before our convention. No one thought we would be here. At the same time, Hillary Clinton can't shake the liberal, progressive, self-declared socialist, 74-year-old Bernie Sanders. She can't shake Bernie Sanders, and yet our party has in fact come together. My fellow members are saying we're not voting for Hillary Clinton. Paul Ryan's not voting for Hillary Clinton. So our party is coming together a good 6 months before the election and a good 9 weeks before we thought we would be coming together. This is all extraordinarily positive momentum.
Well, when you look ahead to the platform the Republican Party has to craft and just the message the Republican Party runs on this fall, there's some clear differences. We've talked about them a lot between a Paul Ryan and a Donald Trump. Donald Trump is out there saying Medicare, Social Security, don't touch them. You know, Paul Ryan's proposed something very different there. Immigration, very big difference between Donald Trump saying we've got to deport everyone and what Paul Ryan has said in terms of comprehensive immigration reform. On those issues, is this Donald Trump's party or Paul Ryan's party?
It's the Republican Party. We're going to work together. I actually have disagreed with Mr. Trump on several of these issues. As Mr. Trump is now running in the general election and he has reached out, which he does, that's what a CEO does, to other folks to get their input. I believe we're going to be all on the same page. We are going to certainly secure our borders. We're going to have peace through strength. We're going to actually bring these jobs back. Fundamental tax reforms part of it, not impacting anyone currently on Social Security or Medicare. I believe, Steve, as this moves forward, you're going to see a very united platform. We're going to disagree on trade. I'm with Mr. Trump there. TPP would be a disaster for our country, just like NAFTA was. We need fair and balanced trade. This free trade nonsense has cost this country millions of jobs, ruined Western New York. So there's one. I'm with Mr. Trump, not with Mr. Ryan. But we're going to have our differences. And we're going to, the voters are going to choose between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. We've already seen this supposed advantage Hillary had disappeared in 3 days. All of a sudden, all the crazy talk that she was going to win in this massive landslide, she can't shake Bernie Sanders. So if there's a landslide, it's going to be with Donald Trump.